What's a good brokerage not named TD Ameritrade? Right now, I use TD for everything, and it's been wonderful. However, in the future, I want to have my IRAs and inherited trusts to be at a totally different institution, so as to not encounter legal entanglements that a certain legal contract could entail, especially as I am in a community property state. I think that Schwab is now part of TD Ameritrade, although perhaps they still have separate trade names, and so accounts at one would not be considered as commingled with the other. In any case, it couldn't hurt to have this new institution not be considered connected in any way, so as to give any lawyer any smart ideas. And I think Vanguard is not a good brokerage. For example, it is impossible to have a different beneficiary for different IRAs, although yes, they have good low-cost index funds, but they can be purchased at any brokerage. And I'd prefer a brokerage that has been around, and has good service. I would say SoFi could be a choice, but in the past I have found it impossible to open up a checking account, with no one manning the phones. Maybe it has gotten better since then. I'd also like a broker that doesn't have nickel-dime fees for opening, transferring, or distributing from an IRA. My plan is to occasionally do distributions and then do an ACH to my TD account. Fidelity is great. The only one left is Fidelity, if you don't want Vanguard or TD Schwab. Not sure why you think different brokerages are needed though. So long as they're registered or plated different, they're completely separate, legally. For example, I've had business, personal, and family trust brokerages all at Schwab with no complications or confusion. Love how the guy is avoiding the word marriage like it would protect him in court XD. The never popular E-Trade. Been with them 20 years without an issue. Fidelity. Easy. Best in the business. Steer clear of Robinhood, Webull, etc. I don't think anything here you are doing is going to be of any help to you hide assets from your wife. It's Fidelity, full stop. No one has mentioned Interactive Brokers. They offer unparalleled fees and access to stocks, financial derivatives, and tools. It's more complicated to use, but I used to work at a financial advisory firm and they used this to manage all client assets. So Scottrade got bought out by TD Ameritrade, which got bought out by Charles Schwab. My TD account has already automatically transitioned to Schwab. I think for what you are looking for, Fidelity may be the best option. They have physical offices, you can actually see someone if there is an issue, their website seems better than Vanguard, and customer service is great. They still have separate trade names, and so accounts at one would not be considered as commingled with the other. What do you mean by that? If you have separate accounts at a broker, those accounts are not commingled. This post confuses me. The broker that holds your accounts has absolutely zero effect on the surrounding legal entanglements. Accounts and trusts have an ownership and inheritance structure. Any broker can hold them. Fidelity. Can't recommend them enough. TD Ameritrade Schwab. TD is changing over to Schwab in August. Merrill or Fidelity if you don't want anything complicated. If looking to do more sophisticated trading, IBKR. I have been very, very happy with Schwab. I am with Merrill Edge, both my IRA and 401k in there, and been with them for over 5 years. IBKR. Schwab. Depends on what you're looking for. I really like M1 for auto investing into my IRA. It auto allocates to my pie that I set up. You can't make day trades or anything like that since they only execute trades once or twice a day. Fidelity is also great, especially if you want a more hands-on approach and have other investment vehicles, like a 529 or HSA. My TD account got transferred to Schwab. It's been fine. Fidelity rocks. I use Schwab and I enjoy it. I'm not sure why other people are not recommending it. It's been fine for me for 10 years. Fidelity? I'm happy with Fidelity. Fidelity. If you're set on being anti-Vanguard and not joining Schwab, then you're basically just left with Fidelity. I was recently a trustee for someone who died, and I ended up dealing with all the brokerages and most of the major banks because of the number of accounts this person had. I would not choose to deal with any of them ever again except Schwab and Fidelity. So since Schwab acquired TD and you want something else, I recommend Fidelity. They have the best website by far, almost zero fees, helpful staff when you call, and pretty much every type of account imaginable. Fidelity. I use TradingView for analysis. I love Fidelity myself for both Roth and traditional IRA. I trade options there too, and it's super easy. Fidelity. Separate accounts at the same broker, held in different forms such as an IRA and a trust account, are not commingled. Ask your lawyer. He will quickly verify that you have zero risk of the different accounts being considered commingled, unless of course you start transferring funds from one to the other, but that would be commingling, even if the accounts were at different brokers. Interactive brokers. They also pay 4.5 on uninvested cash. They have many advanced features for multiple accounts. But not sure about fees for IRA and related transfers. Fidelity or Schwab? Take your pick. And I'd prefer a brokerage that has been around, and has good service. SoFi is relatively new to the market. Hasn't been around. I've been very happy with E-Trade. Schwab. There is no TD Ameritrade, only Schwab. Fidelity is the least corrupt of a broken broker system. Update: I should say that whenever I do this, I will have or hope about $500,000, and so if I am making a switch, I will take into account any bonus that would be given for opening up such new accounts. Fidelity and Robinhood. How do you still use TD Ameritrade when it no longer exists? Charles Schwab bought them out. Fidelity. IKBR. The problem is these stupid banks will just keep merging. Even if they're separate today, they might not be in a decade or so. I guess there isn't much you can do about that though. What's wrong with Robinhood? They pioneered free commissions. Fidelity only followed suit. It follows the same concept as the Robinhood tale. Taking from the rich and giving to the poor by helping smaller retail traders of any size by not hurting their growth with fees. Robinhood. Doctors. SoFi. Robinhood. One match on IRA contributions makes no sense not to use them. Wells Fargo isn't awful. I was with TD but got charged a bunch reorganization fees every time there was stock splits or cash mergers. I believe it used to be around $39 stock a couple of years ago. Switched to Fidelity and their fees are pretty minimal. Would recommend. I got moved from TD to Schwab, and I've noticed they are slow with the clearance. Dividend reinvestments take at least one business day. Still waiting on my JEPI reinvestment from the dividend paid out July 7th, as well as deposits from my bank account. TD used to reinvest dividends, and approve trading on bank transfers the same day. How is Fidelity in comparison? I've been with Fidelity for a little over a decade, and have been very happy with the service. Easy to access via web and app, really low cost funds. I'd have no problem recommending them. Fidelity Active Trader Pro is an amazing desktop app even if you don't consider yourself anything like a day trader. If you're only doing this through your phone, I don't love Fidelity's phone app, but it's workable, and I also couldn't tell you a good one I'd also be willing to put my accounts with anyway. Fidelity allows OTC trading, too. Victory Capital Management. Not many options outside of Fidelity. Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan are not as good as Fidelity for the same price. E-Trade is also nice. It was bought by Morgan Stanley, but for now, it is still E-Trade. Not that different from Schwab though. TD Ameritrade is, as many people said, very good. And so is Fidelity. Interactive Brokers is a good account if you want to do active trading, and have enough money. They require some minimums.